10 seconds. 5 seconds. Start. I am delighted to be here on this occasion of the 38th convocation of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences. The All India Institute of Medical Sciences is truly a proud symbol of the advances our country has made in the area of medical science and healthcare. Today, we honor the achievements of men and women who have been privileged to graduate through the portals of this most prestigious institute. But it is also a day of thanksgiving to the teachers and professors who have shaped and nurtured the brilliant minds we see assembled here today. I congratulate each one of the students and scholars who are receiving degrees, awards, and prizes today. They are being honored on the eve of the birth anniversary of the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi. I can suggest no better guiding light for a young doctor than the ideal of service to humanity at large, especially the poor, which the Mahatma's life and work exemplified. Over the years, AIMS has functioned in a complex working environment with multiple and growing demands on its resources. It is called upon to educate top quality health professionals, serve as a hub of biomedical research, provide extensive hospital services, and increasingly provide leadership in the area of public health. Despite the enormous challenges, the institute has established itself as the country's preeminent medical institution, attracting the best and the brightest young in the country. In meeting its onerous mandates, the institute has grown considerably both physically and in terms of what it is doing. But can one say that the growth has been organic or faithful to a central purpose or mission? What does AIMS aspire to become in the year 2025? What relationship should it have with the government and with its other stakeholders? As all of you are aware, the Valiathan Committee reflected on some of these issues and produced, I believe, a very good report. I suggested to the Health Minister Shri Ghulam Nabi Azad last year that we should have an ambitious and befitting vision of what this great institution should aspire to become, and that we should therefore work on a far reaching agenda of reform. I compliment Shri Ghulam Nabi Azad and his colleagues in the Health Ministry for the efforts they have made to improve internal governance and management of the institute. I understand that a high powered group is looking into the changes in the statute, rules, and regulations governing AIMS that are considered critical for the institute to function effectively in an environment that nurtures innovation, talent, and excellence. The government will consider the recommendations expeditiously and do what is in the best interest of the institute. We should aim at nothing else than making AIMS one of the 10 best medical universities in the world by the year 2020. This is not going to be easy, but it can be done. The government, on its part, will support all endeavors in this direction. In recent years, the government of India has adopted a more inclusive and holistic approach towards providing health security in our country, emphasizing therein the importance of improved sanitation, nutrition, and clean drinking water. The challenges are particularly acute in our rural areas, whether it is child mortality, immunization coverage, maternal mortality, or awareness of HIV/AIDS. Rural populations lag far behind their urban counterparts. This is partly due to inadequate availability of health services in rural areas, but it is also a reflection of the lower levels of education and income, which are important social determinants of our nation's health. The National Rural Health Mission, the Right to Education, the National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, and the measures being taken to provide food security are therefore complementary initiatives intended to protect and promote the health of the rural populace. We have tried to address the critical lacunae of inadequate public provisioning for critical health services. The 11th 5-year plan envisaged an increase in public expenditure on health to at least 2% of GDP. This percentage was below 1% of our GDP at the start of the 11th plan and has increased to only 1.1% in 2009-10 according to the midterm appraisal of the Planning Commission. There is clearly much more to do and a large effort will be required in the 12th plan period to achieve the goal of taking the total allocation for the health sector to 2 to 3% of our GDP, since most of the expenditure on health is in the state budget. The state governments will also have to substantially increase their expenditures in India and globally as well. There is growing sense that medical education needs a revamp to adapt it to contemporary needs and realities. The need of the hour is to produce professionals who address health not only from the perspective of the individual patient but as part of a team integrated into the larger health system. Interdisciplinary and health system connectivity have to be the key coordinates on which medical education has to advance. In the future, it is not biology alone that will drive medical care. Disciplines such as epidemiology, economics, social and behavioral sciences, ethics, and human rights will all influence the manner in which health will be promoted and healthcare provided to our nation. Stop.